Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Have you ever found yourself asking, who is the one reciting the Buddha's name? It might sound like a simple question, but it carries profound implications for how we understand not only the practice of Buddhism, but also the very nature of our existence. In today's video, we are going to explore a powerful teaching from Master Xuyun, one of the most revered figures in modern Chinese Buddhism, which can help us uncover the true meaning behind this question. For many of us, the practice of reciting the Buddha's name, known as Eni Fo, is a central aspect of our spiritual journey. It's a simple and accessible practice, but it holds within it a profound depth that can reveal insights about our mind, our nature, and our connection to the universe. But the question remains, who is the one that is actually reciting? Master Xuyun's teachings offer a powerful answer to this question, pointing us to a deeper understanding of self-awareness and mindfulness. It's easy to think that we are the ones who perform actions reciting the Buddha's name, for example. We often say, I am chanting, or I am the one who is meditating. But Master Xuyun asks us to look deeper, to inquire into the very essence of who we are in the moment of practice. So, what does it mean to ask, who is reciting the Buddha's name? To answer this, let's first take a step back and explore the deeper implications of self-awareness in Buddhist practice. In Buddhism, we are taught that the self, the I we so strongly identify with, is not a fixed, permanent entity. Rather, it is a collection of thoughts, emotions, experiences, and perceptions that arise and pass away in an ever-changing flow. When we ask, who is reciting, we are prompted to inquire into the nature of the self that seems to be performing the action. Master Xuyun often taught that the real essence of practice lies in seeing through the illusion of the self. The practice of chanting the Buddha's name, in its deepest sense, is not merely about the external action of repeating words. Instead, it is an invitation to recognize the emptiness of the self, to observe the rising of thoughts and sensations without attachment, and to realize that the one who is chanting is not separate from the act of chanting itself. When we chant, we often focus on the external words or the rhythm of the practice, but Master Xuyun encouraged us to look beyond the external form and to understand the true nature of the mind that is engaging in the practice. This brings us to the core teaching of non-self, anatta, a concept that is central to Buddhist philosophy. When we recite the Buddha's name, we are reminded that the self we believe to be the reciter is, in reality, an illusion. There is no permanent, unchanging self who is doing the reciting. The practice itself, chanting the Buddha's name, is not separate from the mind or the body. It is all interconnected. Master Xuyun's deep wisdom invites us to look within during our practice. When we ask, was reciting, we are not simply asking about the person or the mind involved in the practice. We are invited to recognize that, in the act of chanting, there is a blurring of the boundaries between subject and object. The reciter, the act of reciting, and the Buddha's name itself become one. This realization opens the door to a deeper understanding of mindfulness, where we let go of the false separation between ourselves and the world around us. The practice of chanting the Buddha's name, in Master Xuyun's view, is not about gaining something external. It is about cultivating inner purity and awakening to the true nature of the self. Through mindfulness, we begin to see that the self that is reciting is not an independent entity, but a dynamic, interdependent process. This realization allows us to experience a profound shift in consciousness, where the act of reciting the Buddha's name becomes not just a practice, but a profound meditation on the nature of existence itself. But what does this mean for our daily practice? How can we apply Master Xuyun's teachings to our own journey? First and foremost, it means that when we chant, we are not simply performing an external ritual. Chanting becomes a practice of awakening to the nature of the self, to the emptiness of our thoughts, and to the impermanence of all things. By focusing on the act of chanting, we begin to see that it is not the self who is chanting, but the very awareness of chanting that matters. This awareness is not something that can be easily grasped through intellectual understanding alone. It must be experienced directly, through the practice of mindfulness. When we chant the Buddha's name, we are invited to let go of any attachment to the self that seems to be performing the action. Instead, we focus on the sound, the rhythm, and the mindfulness that arises in the present moment. As we do so, the sense of separation between the reciter and the Buddha's name begins to dissolve. This practice of mindfulness in chanting also brings us closer to the experience of non-attachment. Master Xuyun's teachings emphasize that the key to true spiritual liberation is to let go of attachment to the idea of the self, attachment to the outcomes of our practice, and attachment to the form of the practice itself. When we let go of these attachments, we experience a sense of freedom and peace that is not dependent on external conditions. Master Xuyun also emphasized the importance of patience and persistence in practice. Spiritual growth is a gradual process, and the practice of chanting is no different. As we chant the Buddha's name, we may find that our mind wanders, that we become distracted, or that we don't experience immediate results. But through patience and persistence, we learn to return again and again to the present moment, to the sound of the Buddha's name, and to the awareness of our true nature. In the context of who is reciting, Master Xuyun teaches us that the answer is not as important as the awareness of the process. When we focus on the process of chanting, we realize that there is no one doing the chanting. There is simply the act of chanting, the sound, the breath, and the awareness. This realization brings us into alignment with the deeper wisdom of Buddhism, where we understand that the self is not something to hold on to, but something to let go of. As we continue on our journey of chanting, we begin to experience the transformation of our mind and spirit. The practice of chanting becomes an ongoing meditation that helps us purify our thoughts and bring us closer to the Buddha's wisdom. The more we chant, the more we realize that the true value of the practice lies not in the outcome, but in the awareness that arises with each recitation. This is the essence of Master Xuyun's teaching, that true wisdom and insight arise not from the ego or the self, but from the deep awareness of the present moment. In conclusion, the question, who is reciting the Buddha's name, is not just about understanding the mechanics of the practice, it is about awakening to the true nature of the self. By following Master Xuyun's teachings and focusing on mindfulness, non-attachment, and awareness, we can experience a profound transformation in our practice. The practice of chanting is not just about reciting words, it is about awakening to the emptiness of the self and to the interconnectedness of all things. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope this exploration of Master Xuyun's teachings has helped you uncover a deeper understanding of the practice of chanting the Buddha's name. Remember, the true value of the practice lies not in the act of chanting itself, but in the awareness and insight that arise from it. If you found this video helpful, please share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more content like this. May your practice be filled with peace, clarity, and wisdom as you continue on your journey.